But,
Yeah.
okay. James Worthy. Hello, sir.
How are you, my brother?
Man, I am good, man. I was sitting here right before we jumped on. I was just thinking about all of the different fatherhood projects that I've seen you work on, some stuff that I've been working on. But I wanted to have a dialogue. I invited you today so we can talk about this new project that we're doing for men and families in Baltimore. We are building a $3 million facility, and it's called the Men and Family Center, MFC. So I know that you've been doing a lot around the intersection of fatherhood in Baltimore, but actually around the country. You was actually sharing with me some things earlier about some opportunities that you have, and how that can impact lifestyle, the community, the business economy, all sorts of things in the city. So I wanted to kind of have this dialogue with you. And I wanted to also, if you would humor me, my dear brother, I want to actually show you the project and take you through the website. And maybe as we do that, we can kind of share it with some folks as well. How's that sound?
Absolutely, I'd love to, man. And I tell you, Rodney, first of all, when I got the invitation, it was from you. I was like, I don't care what we talk about, because I've just watched you blossom. And then when you told me a little bit about what's happening, you know, as you probably know, and maybe some people watching this thing may not know, I spent a big bulk of my entire career, almost 20 years, 17 years of my career in the heart of Baltimore, working with young fathers and families to get them to a space where they were able to be self-sustaining.
Yeah, man.
And to hear about a men's center being born. I know there's been thousands of projects, and there's some great things in Baltimore, but there's some great need in Baltimore. So I'm glad to hear about this and the fact that you're involved with it. You know, when you look at our history together, man, I remember when you was a baby boy.
Yeah, we gotta go way back. It's funny that you said that, man, because I actually know of a father that you worked with. It was a guy. So what people don't know is that the center that we're building now, you and I actually first connected at a center for fathers and families many, many years ago, right? And so just kind of staying in this same world, in this same vein. Well, ladies and gentlemen, y'all see this handsome, debonair gentleman in front of you named James Worthy. This guy, I was one of the fathers that he had the opportunity to work with. And I have done some amazing things in my life, but a lot of people don't know that I attribute the start of that to a conversation that James and I had. And I use conversation lightly, y'all, because I didn't know if I was going to be in trouble or not with this gentleman. But I had some open doors in front of me, but I couldn't see him. He saw them, and we talked about them. And I gave lip service to being able, like, no, it's an opportunity. Yeah, no. But I didn't believe it. I couldn't see myself doing. My upbringing didn't tell me that such opportunities were really for me, for people from my statistical background, et cetera. So I almost let it go. And I had one of the most down-to-earth, realist, hard-hitting conversations with a gentleman that I consider to be a big brother that I probably ever had at that point in my life, with a man, like a kind of man-to-man talk like that. It spurred me into action. I took those initial steps, and yes, it was a bunch of ups and downs, don't get me wrong, over the course of the 15 years. But I've been to the White House, guys. I've been to who knows how many countries. I've been to 41 of our 50 states, engaging crowds, doing this kind of work. And I would have kind of let all of that slip through my fingers had it not been for that eye-opening watershed moment of a conversation that I got to share with James Worthy. So a lot of people don't know that. You know it, James. You know that story.
I think I was at that conversation. I think I was in that room. But you know, and that's, you know, when I hear about what you're talking about with a men's center, unbelievably, men in our community, and when I say our community, I'm a Southeast kid, Southeast DC. Baltimore is just, you know, north. It's
That's right.
Southeast North. So
That's right.
what I know. And we don't often get the examples or the supports necessary to climb the ladder as men, fathers, business owners, and all that. Yes, do we have a lot of success in our community? Yes, but are there so many more that could be living life at a better space with these type of support? So I'm always encouraged by movements that encompass men in their roles of fathers, business owners, protectors, nurturers, all of those things that sometimes we don't get to do. So I'm excited, Rodney.
Yeah.
I know you're gonna push this thing where it needs to be.
Let's jump in, man.
Let's jump into it.
So I think that you're gonna love this project, man. So it's called the Men and Family Center. I'm actually gonna share my screen.
Mhm.
It's a $3 million facility that we're building for families in Baltimore. And I just want you to see the vision of this thing, sir. Now I know I got a whole bunch of tabs up here, man. I'm trying to keep track. Here's a dad up here, Will by Will Smith. That's his audiobook, man. It's been recommended to me several times. So I'm just trying to connect with it. But all right. So you see the dad and his son, right?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So enriching the lives of men and families in Baltimore, right? This is the homepage. This beautiful art piece, man. I'm not the biggest guy on art, but this piece spoke to me, James. I actually lived in Italy for a little bit in college, and we studied the Renaissance. Now, if you're going to study anything about art, studying the Renaissance should be the thing. I was like, I mean, if that's what you like, because it was art. So there was a few pieces there that I was really into, but for the most part, art is not my
thing. Mm-hmm.
So when I saw this piece and it spoke to me the way it did, I felt honored to talk about it. I'm glad it's a part of our vision. It's actually on another page in the website that we're going to get to in a little bit. The development support and the programs that we're going to have. At the end of the day, this facility, these are some of the men right here. You know this gentleman, don't you? You know that.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. One of the founding fathers, man. Everybody, that is a brother by the name of Leon Purnell. And when I first started my college career, I saw James Worthy, I saw Leon Purnell, I saw a gentleman by the name of Joe Jones. I saw these men, a gentleman by the name of Israel Kason. I saw several different leaders moving in and around Baltimore City that was taking up the mantle for fathers and families in Baltimore. And so we're just kind of continuing in this vein, right? All right, James, I'm gonna take us on a journey. Here we go. Let's talk about the development. So for those of you that don't know, this is what the facility is going to look like. So the white buildings are not the center. The buildings that are in full color are the center. These buildings are currently here. They're going to be taken down because they are very old, right? They're very, very old. They were given to the Men and Family Center nonprofit by the government. But they were given in a state of disrepair, right? There was some holes kind of into places. It was like some things that needed to be like really fixed to the point where I'm not so sure if they should have been holding programming. However, when there's a need, there's a way. And so they figured out how to put buckets under holes in the ceilings and in the roofs and kind of patch this up and patch that up. And they've served hundreds of families over the past several years, man. It's coming in and out of East Baltimore. So they're going to take all of these buildings down. They're going to build them completely up. The vision. We envision the new Men and Family Center as a bright and light-filled environment that lifts the spirit and creates positive energy for the staff and clients of the center. Alpha 8 is the name of the architectural firm, James. They're actually based here, and they're kind of spearheading this work on the physical building side. Alpha 8 will bring in its advanced design thinking and broad network of technologies and innovations to create a remarkable and unique project for MFC and Baltimore. The scope of our renovations will include repairing the existing facility and bring it into a modern standard and ensure that it's code compliant meets the safety requirement of the occupants. That's actually what I just shared about it being taken down and started over. That's the newest update. So at first the vision was we're going to come in here and just try to do the patchwork.
Right.
Well, when we got in there, Alpha 8, that's not my company. When Alpha 8 and their experts got in there, they was like, you know what? We can spend a lot of time trying to patch this up. Or, right, we could just
demo it and start from scratch.
Start from scratch, right? Ultimately, the objective is to create a community landmark that speaks positive values for building and growing strong communities. We envision achieving this by restoring the existing character of the buildings, enhancing the street and alley experience of the facility for the community, repairing the sidewalk, introducing green and landscape elements, and bringing public art to the facility to create a sense of place. How does that feel, man?
You know, here's what triggered me, and I saw the art. One of the things that Baltimore has is history.
Yeah, man.
And
absolutely.
You know, when you say Leon Purnell, I mean, God, Leon is probably one of the people that when I got started working with Moses Hammond, some of the others that you mentioned, really did spark an understanding of what the city is about.
That's right. That's right. Right.
And that's what not being from the city, but I've been here long enough to be of the city.
Yes.
I'm excited about this because one of the things that traditionally men and families in Baltimore have not seen are state-of-the-art spaces that are for them. Many of the places have been, you know, retrofitted, worked out. I know another organization that pretty much got a historic place and was like, nah, tear this thing down. And when the people you serve can see development, can see new, can see different, can see a future. That's what this building means to me. That's what it gives the people that coming through the door. I'm not getting the same old stuff.
Yeah.
Not coming into something that it revitalizes your spirit. And also it revitalizes that sense of let's take care of it. I hear so much about, well, people who live in these areas, they don't take care of their stuff. And I get it. Yeah. All of us have a personal responsibility to take care of the area we live in. Right, but when the area you live in is dilapidated from day one, it's hard to make it look good.
It takes away the effort to do so, right? And so you give somebody listen, I'm not against hand-me-downs, right?
Not at all.
I'm not against hand-me-downs. It's value there. It's value in being able to have heirlooms and things of that nature. But there's a difference between an heirloom and discard, right? Yes. And when somebody's just giving something that should have been discarded, they feel that. You know what I mean?
Feel that. Absolutely.
Feel that. And so, man, a brand new center like this is going to be great. These two folks are a major part of the development team. You heard about Alpha 8. This gentleman is the lead architect and design of that architectural firm. His name is Elliot Terra. I have the opportunity to work with this guy all the time. And then this woman right here, Dr. Millie Johnson, who actually had a spread in the cover of Essence magazine some years ago. And she's done work in the Caribbean. She's doing work in Florida right now. She's raised money. And so these two, actually, she started raising money for the project some years back. You know, we're just coming out of quarantine, pandemic. You know, we're just fresh out of that whole part of life.
Right.
So that kind of took it kind of took a pause, you know, those efforts, but she's back in it, going full steam ahead. She linked with Elliot Terra, and they have been working on what this new project should be. I'm very, very proud to be working with these two individuals. I actually heard about this project much later into the campaign of them trying to raise the money and get the permits and all of that stuff. It was because I was invited to a conversation. I happened to know Leon, and I happened to know Dr. Mildred Johnson, and I was invited to a conversation. I'm like, hey, I know y'all, and what are y'all sure? And I told them something from my heart, bro. I said that I've lived in Baltimore and I've lived in Florida, and I've traveled for work all over our entire country. What we're trying to do here with this center sounds like an American story with a Baltimore heart.
Mm, mm.
Now, I said that in the moment and it felt good. You know, like when your shot goes in, like it felt good. I didn't know how much it resonated with the team. And before you know it, we were in real talks to figure out, like, Rodney, we want you to help tell that story and help us kind of garner a lot of support around getting this new MFC center done, right? So that's how I joined the team, man. But shout out to these two trailblazers getting it started. Here's another artistic design. I love the fact, James, that they're going to put trees all around it. I'm going to back up real quick. That there's something to be said for neighborhoods that are what they call tree lined, right? Because tree lined areas have that sense of home. It feels calmer when everything is just kind of raised to the ground and brick and sidewalk. You lose a little bit with that.
You lose the feel of life.
Yes,
trees, shrubbery bring a feel of life, and that's what we need in our. I grew up in Southeast DC, man, and I always wondered why my grandfather worked so hard to keep that one big tree in front of our house.
That one big tree is important.
One big tree in front of our house, man. So, and I love also the fact for the Baltimore historian that keeping that row home feel, but the new lift.
That is a part of us, right? It's a part of it. That's
the stoop is a part of Baltimore.
Part of Baltimore. Let's check this out real quick. Now, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't even think I've seen this little 40-second piece here, James. So I'm gonna rewind it back. This might be a surprise for us all. Let's see what these folks talking about. Tell me if you can hear that.
Absolutely.
It looks nice, man. I want to be there.
Yeah.
It's important, man. It's important to give, if you really want people to get the benefit of doing something different and better. So this is this is what it currently looks like from above, right? From the helicopter view. Again, it's located right in East Baltimore, man. So it's connected to a bunch of opportunity zones. I believe that they're going to get a benefit of a lot of funding. Now, this is those same buildings, bro. And this area doesn't look the same. It needs the support. In order for us to create the vision that we just were talking about up here, and how your granddad wanted to, was it your granddad or your dad?
Yeah, my grandfather.
Your grandfather. We got to get the money around us so that we can take these buildings down, right? So that we can put the trees up, so we can get this lot over here. That row home that you was talking about with that field, that's over here. It's not even there yet. Right. Yeah. So this is why we are raising $3 million, James, because if not, we're just going to get more of the same. Nobody is going to feel comfortable just throwing some paint inside of these walls. Like, they'll do some programming. They'll have a pizza night for after school, but it's not the same thing as the vision that we were talking about earlier. Right.
Absolutely.
Let me go here.
So one of the things that as we ask people, when we think for people to support something, the one thing personally, I believe in supporting something that gives people hope, but opportunity.
That's
and
right.
What I see here is a space, and if I know anything about Leon, it gives people a space to, one, be creative, but also to manifest ideas, hopes, and dreams.
Yeah.
And every project that has been successful here in Baltimore, where there's a rebuild, a new building, the hope that springs from it has to have the services. And that's where I'm excited, because the services, some of the things you guys have talked about being there for people, is where those families, those men, those children who are eventually going to be the ones who are in this when you might not retire forever because you baby. But I'm, when I retire, when we walk with those youth, will have a space that their story, much like your story.
Yeah, man.
think of if we could duplicate the Rodneys, the Jameses, to come out of the quote unquote the dirt.
That's right, man.
And you put us in a space. I remember when I grew up in Southeast DC, and I went over to Archbishop John Carroll on the other side of town. And you walk up the tree line way, and you see the shrubbery, you see the school in the heart of DC, but you see this school and you see the pristine grounds. You feel different. So when I went back down, moving on back down.
That's right.
When I went home, you say, I'm a part of something big.
I'm a part of something big.
I'm a part of something big. And then when that space has the opportunity, the information, the training, the supports, you can springboard. And that's what I'm very excited about this. And we're better than East Baltimore. We're better than East Baltimore to do this. So
James, I'm trying to share the screen. Is it working? Is that working?
I see the Will Smith audio book.
Okay.
You may need to stop sharing and then reshare.
Stop share. Listen, man, they need to teach a whole course, a whole college course on this, man.
No problem. I certainly will. I've been doing it for the last 3 years. I've been on Zoom now for almost 5 years.
Yeah, you jumped in the game early, man.
I was an early adopter to this and changed my whole world, but that's a whole nother conversation. And things like technology, things like Baltimore is slowly starting to get that technology creep come in. And I know this is for our young people, our families, our fathers, being able to, as you say, have a space where the cutting edge can be shared. There's so much that, when you look at our young people, and I watch these young guys is making music and doing all types of stuff. Whatever you feel about the music, that's not the point. But the fact that they take an iPhone.
Yeah.
And not only can they record the beat, they can rap on that iPhone, put a video, and they give you something that's like a studio quality off the iPhone.
Off of a single device, man.
A singular device. And you say that these aren't little geniuses. Okay, you don't like the way they look, the way they dress, the way they talk, what they do.
Sure,
they blow
right.
it. Okay, that we can clean up real easily.
Yes.
But you can't just throw away the skill set that these young people have and what they teach each other.
And this is why we're building this center.
I see it.
It's going to have these type of programming modules in there. We actually met with an actor that's from Baltimore. His name is Brian Terrell Clark. He's given us release to utilize his name and his image to be a part of the project. He was like, yes, I'm going to help us raise this money. We're going to, I can't let all the cats out the bag, but we got some major things coming up towards the latter part of this year in this same vein. He was like, after we get it going, man, I got ideas for the programming because these are little geniuses and they need to be nurtured. James, I'm going to jump into this video real quick. Let's see what we got here. I want the people to see what we see. You know, man, as a son of the city, bro, my parents are from here, and um, I was born here. My aunts, my uncles, my sisters, and although I spent some time in Florida, I consider myself. I thought I said mute for a second. I consider myself to be a son of Baltimore. Um, it's uncomfortable to see videos like that.
Very.
It's uncomfortable to drive through the neighborhoods. On my way to my little office to kind of have this conversation with you, I drove across town. One of the things that is interesting about Baltimore, and I mean that both as a pro and a con, is a lot of times if you go to somebody's house or home, if they don't do the best job of cleaning up, they throw everything in a closet. They throw everything in the back room. So your living room, your dining room, like your gathering areas are clear for company, right? Bathroom and all that kind of stuff. For some reason, Baltimore's reality is that their shared spaces and their major thoroughfares look like what should be tucked away.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a strength and a minus to that. And I'm gonna get to that in a second. But when people come and engage Baltimore for the first time and they go to some of our major landmarks, our world famous hospital and medical centers, world champion NFL team that we have, and Major League Baseball team that we have, and people come into the concerts in the stadiums and they go to the harbor and, all that kind of stuff. The World Trade Center, the one that we have in Baltimore, I didn't know that is one of the tallest 5-sided buildings. I didn't know that. I didn't know it was tough to make a 5-sided building. I didn't know that. The Preakness, one of the 3 gems of the Triple Crown, where you have the Belmont Stakes, the Kentucky Derby, and the Preakness, right? So you have a lot of world-class things happening right here in the city, but in order to get to them, you have to go through the major thoroughfares. And that is where Baltimore has, and I'm gonna personify Baltimore for a second, and I'm gonna make it like it had a choice, has chosen to put on Front Street, James, things that probably would have better served it if it tucked it away. The great neighborhoods, the communities that support NFL, Major League, the Preakness, the hospital, those are tucked away. Like you got to know how to get to those.
Get to those. Yep.
You got to know how to get to those in Baltimore. So
because they're in Baltimore City, but you got to know how to find them.
You better know how to find them, right? So yeah, man, it's not that I don't like to see the video because it's not real. It's real.
It's real.
Folks, it's real. And it's not that I wish that we didn't tell people, because you have to bring these sort of things to light in order for change to be made, right? But man, it's uncomfortable.
It's Rodney, I spent a number of years in Baltimore and working in 3 of the most difficult zip codes in this city. And daily, and to your point, it almost puts you in a space. If you continue the drive that you normally do, you start to subconsciously believe that this is it.
Yeah.
This is what it's all about. And unfortunately, Baltimore's incredible history, incredible successes, like you say, are tucked away because whether it's been mistakenly promoted or purposely promoted, the treachery that is so easily shown here in Baltimore is become what we've identified, or not we, but what the world has started to identify Baltimore as.
Yes.
It's so funny going away to school or when you travel or when you're out and you say Baltimore. It was amazing how many times people talk to me. Oh, you Baltimore, the homicide. What was the Wire?
The Wire.
That was the persona of Baltimore. And then you hear the music and people, and I believe that in some ways that's allowed to be shared
right? Because
and
it's
kind of
certain truth.
it's kind of spoken out. But when you see gyms like what's being built with this men's center, around it, I'm so glad you had Dr. Johnson involved, because I see that her background is, media and social media
Yes.
because just like with the work of fatherhood, the persona has to be changed. Baltimore's persona has to show all of the incredible elements of success that are here.
Mm-hmm.
And this men's center being one of them. And then just like when you look at fatherhood, and I'm going to draw this parallel together. This men's center is beautiful. When you see a person like you, with your children and all of you've done with growing and raising your family, we tuck that away.
Yeah.
So in the media, one of the things that's a resource that I've worked on for years are PSAs. You may have heard PSAs like take time to be a dad.
Yeah.
Okay. Now they got dedication. Dad's like a
I
dad.
saw the dedication.
Dedication. These are ways to use media to combat the traditional mainstream media of showing dads in a different light.
I like that.
This men's center is a way to combat the way our thoroughfares look, because when you see the street appeal to what's being built.
Come on, bro.
When you see in the vision, it says we want to make the alley experience. Do you know how an alley in Baltimore, you know what an alley represents in Baltimore? Man, you don't, ain't no experience you want in an alley.
But if you start to beautify that.
But if you beautify that, and it's a place and a space that's safe and looks good, and it's a space where you might be pulling your car up.
That's right. That's right.
Traditionally, alleys, which they were built for, we've converted them into places of refuge.
That's right. But now we'll be able to get to the place where, and it's something else, man, that you said that stood out for me. You said Baltimore and the surrounding areas, and you said when you say you're from Baltimore, hold up, where's it at? Come on now. There we go. You say you're from Baltimore, and people start asking you questions and all that kind of stuff. Well, before I get down here and talk about the plan real quick, one of the things that I want to point out, James, is Baltimore is actually greater Baltimore. As the city goes, so goes this whole greater Baltimore metropolitan region, right? And so it's incumbent upon us that are connected, whether we're in the outlying counties, whether we're right here in the city, where I heard this gentleman, James, he said that he tries to keep everything that he does as a very astute, older white gentleman. He was like, I wanted everything that I do and live and breathe and interact with. I don't ever want to go OTB. We were sitting in a restaurant here in Baltimore, y'all, called Miss Shirley's. And I was like, OTB? He's like, yeah, man, I try to make everything that I do happen here. I don't want to go OTB. And I said, what in the world is OTB? He said, outside the Beltway. So there's this whole idea that everything that's kind of connected to this Beltway is Baltimore, whether it is Baltimore proper on the statistical map or not, right? We're still connected to it. So let's talk about the plan to make it better. One, revamping and rebuilding the men's center building on 2022 Jefferson Street, East Baltimore, Maryland. We commit to building a more functional, state-of-the-art working center so that men, boys, and their families will continue to thrive. Number two, renovating and expanding the internal structure. We already talked about that. That's going to be a remake. The adjacent parking lot, as well as improved landscaping, furnishing, signage, and other improvements, such that the Men and Family Center is fully equipped to train and serve families in Baltimore. This is why we're raising $3 million. This is why. Number three, improving capacity building and operating efficiency and effectiveness by increasing program initiatives, improving systems and infrastructure, and improving equipment and technology. Hiring adequately trained staff and providing training and development for everybody. I'm gonna pause right there. I cut my teeth in this world, James, at this point of my career, training teams. I go into organizations and I tell people, and there's a lot of times it's like, oh, I don't know, how is this going to make us money? And I tell them, I'm like an auto mechanic. right? You don't pay people like me. You don't pay your auto mechanic to make you money. You pay them so you're not spending and bleeding out money because you're replacing every part or getting a new vehicle all the time, right? How do we keep you and your people, your organization, your company rolling? One of the things that I love about this, providing training and development for everyone, right, is it's not just this initial idea of let's train good staff and get them in here, but even after we're here, the best players, James, practice. Your James, your Michael Jordans, your Steph Currys, your Kobe Bryants, your LeBron James. These people are known for the dedication that they put in the gym during practice hours. And that's the same thing for all professionals. So I really like that. That means that this building, this institution it represents can be something that stays and stands the test of time. Number 4, design and build a state-of-the-art secondary building that will be the art beat of Baltimore, where men, boys, and their families gain access to film, dance, music, theater, vocal, and choral work, spoken word and beyond. In other words, MFC's Capital Campaign Project provides meaningful, vibrant art programs to families across the neighborhoods. I like that, man. I like that. Number 5, create a small endowment fund to handle emergencies and protect the legacy of MFC over the long haul. And this goal, again, you've heard me say it multiple times, we're trying to do $3 million. Here's a look at how we've been doing so far, good brother. You know, visuals help. You know, we're trying to get there, but it's conversations like this that I believe, my hope is that it draws attention to the real need, the purpose, the vision, and ultimately ways for people. Listen, if you want to host little dinners and meet and greets, if you want to hold webinars with us, contact myself, contact James Worthy, let us be a part of this, contact Elliot Terra, Dr. Mildred Johnson. We can assist. And if you see this vision and any of this kind of resonates, excuse me, if any part of the conversation so far, something that either myself or James said reminded you of some memory, some feelings, some time in your life, that's called synchronicity. And that means it's something in you that wants to, it's already desirous to be a part. So now it's just figuring out the how. So what does that look like? Right? We got a whole bunch of different ways. I can't wait to get to this right here. Can we get to this art program real quick?
Let's get to that.
Okay, I'm gonna come back to the program. Let me talk about this piece right here. Excuse me. Okay, again, this is called The Spirit of Africa. This is what it looks like. This is the piece that it looks. Can I blow this up? Okay. So as you can see, it's a woman. I think she's beautiful. I think that she's well constructed. If I'm using my little paying attention in art school back in Italy, James, on my Renaissance studies, the composition of her facial structure is well balanced. You can see the symmetry and you can see her engaging the looker as if they're sharing a wordless conversation. I think that this is just spot on. Her hair looks great. Right, her eyes are welcoming yet piercing at the same time. I just think it's a great piece. And she represents the embodiment of those folks that come out of Africa. Now, it's easy, James, to connect that to Black folk. But if we know anything about life and history on the planet, there's not a single human being, Asian, European, Mexican, Peruvian, there is no human that doesn't trace lineage family group back to Africa, right? Yeah. And so the spirit of Africa is within us all. Yes. This right here, this commemorative print that was done actually by the architect himself, Elliot Terra, you can actually get this in t-shirt form. Look at this. Wow. You can get this and put it in your home. We have NFT versions for folks that want to go that route with it. I think it's a beautiful piece, man. There was a woman by the name of Dawn Richard, and she is a entertainer. She was a part of like Diddy's group and Bad Boy Entertainment.
Mhm.
She's done posts wearing a shirt and stuff like that. So I just think that the art piece is good. So maybe you don't want to hold a fundraiser. Maybe you do. Maybe you don't want to bring a whole bunch of people to your house. Maybe you do. But maybe you just want to wear a nice shirt that represents this right here. Or maybe you just want to order you some prints and kind of put them around.
Put them in your place.
I like it, man. All about it. I'm gonna read this real quick, James. Our ancestral spirit of Africa runs through our hearts, gives us passion, pride, and purpose, unites us as one family across the world, from Kinshasa to Kentucky, from Burkina Faso to Baltimore, calls us to join hands and inspires us to give hand and lift our brothers and sisters as one family. In the great spirit of Sankofa, we look back to our roots to light the path to our destiny. Join us and help make Men and Family Center a beacon of hope in Baltimore, a pulsar in stormy oceans. We need your help, each and every one of you. Now, that gentleman, he asked to remain anonymous. But this guy, he's an Army vet. He has been both overseas and here in America. And let me put it this way, I'm gonna try to respect everything about what he shared with us. He is one of many that could have benefited from such a center. Existence, right? And so he wrote this poem to help us get there. I'm gonna go through the program, man, and we're gonna be done. I'm gonna let everybody know. Again, that's Brother Leon. These are workers and staff and people that's been connected. The vision, a positive source of inspiration for men, boys, and their families in East Baltimore. Social expectations about men's involvement in the care of children, especially raising boys to adulthood, are changing slowly thanks to nonprofits like the Men and Family Center in East Baltimore, and due to work by champions like James Worthy and so many others that have taken up this cause. The center's primary focus is to address the needs of men in the community with holistic solutions that help them become self-sustaining. We also make the transition from underemployment, unemployment, to employment more fluid and more rewarding. The executive director here, Mr. Leon Purnell, his legacy speaks for himself. I recommend, if you're on social media, especially if you're on Facebook, connect with this guy. Read some of the things that he's been a part of, Google him, do a web search on him, and just see this has been the push and the drive behind the MFC, the Men and Family Center, for years, right? And it's in his honor that we look at him just sitting right here. This is something he did all the time. All the time. This is just part of who this guy was. You know this guy, Brother Donnie Glover.
Yes, I do.
There's been champions, man, that's been a part of this work for a long time, man. And so the programs, we talked a little bit about them, but these are things that's already happening. So when I first mentioned the program, it is what's coming, right? But there's already neighborhood navigators. These are people that go around and spread the word about the center and get paid to do it. The male parenting system is a program, a curriculum that help fathers who may have not had good dads in their life. People don't know, James, you grew up with your dad and your grandfather.
Dad, grandfather, and great-grandfather. All within a 4-block radius of each other, man. I was jokingly saying all the time, man, I was hoping for father absenteeism so I could do something.
Trying
to get a break, but it makes a difference. It made a huge difference. And programming, when you have, like, I had 3 boys. I got a 21-year-old, a 19-year-old, and a 15-year-old.
Yes.
When you have that male figure around, programming happens informally.
That's right.
Some of the conversations, some of the supports, some of the lessons learned, but when you remove that piece, then you got to get programming to replace it.
You have to be
and this is the formal way. And what we're supporting by being a part of the center is we're supporting the efforts to give structure, give programming, give an exampleship to men and families of how to make it work.
That's
You
right.
know, there is no expert like do this and all things work. No, but the example of how to be fluid in situations, how to manage
Yes.
yourself in situations, how to handle. I spend a lot of time in when we get to this piece of it is where I play in programming, and I work with so many organizations, and you know they say, well, we want to do this for men, and we well let me ask you this: did you ask the men?
Woo. What do they want to be a part of?
What do they want to be? Because see, you don't give away, you ask people to earn away. And that's where I think Leon has always been a major proponent. He ain't giving you a handout. Nah. Now you won't pay, may not be cash, but effort, time,
Right. That's sweat equity.
expectation, sweat. You're gonna put it in to earn, and that's where we build our community. Starting with our men, we build that value. We make the center valuable to ourselves because we had to earn our way into it. We had to earn our way to be a part. So you take care of stuff that you paid for. You take
Right.
care of things that's valuable to you. And when your programming has things like male parenting systems, when you
Yes.
can teach me
Yes.
how to be a parent,
Yes.
I value that because I see it in my children. So this is where, you know, when people see this, I'm hoping people see the beauty of it all because it's a holistic process. You got to have a place. I mean, it's hard to be a dad if you ain't got a place to live.
It's hard, man.
It's hard to be a strong community if you ain't got a good place to go get the supports that you need.
That's right.
You
That's
know,
right.
every time I walk in this door, my sons walk in these doors, they look, they go, yeah, bro. This is where your programming happens.
That's right.
And you walk out proud. You pick up the piece of paper in front of your look good. You know
Right.
what I'm saying?
Right.
So this is where it all this is where the rubber meets the road in supporting this is that you get to watch the change in the people that come through the door. So
Absolutely,
man,
man.
this is phenomenal.
It is great. Look at this little dude. Look at this little dude. I think he could beat you, James.
Probably
I
a lot smarter than I am. I tell you that.
So we are about done, man. I'm going to jump here to the contact page right here. If you want to connect with us, let me see. I'm trying to make this big right here. I don't know if you guys can see it.
Yep, we can see it. There you go.
Myra Chung, and of course, this is Dr. Millie Johnson's. Her firm is called High Impact Consulting, and Myra Chung is a part of the Alpha 8 design team. Here are their email addresses, folks. These are their phone numbers. Please, please, please. And I'm gonna say, just in case anybody's listening to this, James, folks probably treat this like how I do. I listen to these sort of conversations while I'm washing dishes and making dinner, right? So I'm gonna say the number out loud. One number is 202, that's the area code, 830-1156. I'm gonna say it again. Area code is 202-830-1156. If you can call that number, you can text that number, you can reach out to this person. Her name is Myra Chung. She's a major part of coordinating and organizing the efforts around getting this center done. We want to do as much as we can to raise awareness. We have social media out there. Everything is connected to Men and Family Center. You'll be able to see those social media links right here on our page. They're at the bottom, all over the place: Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, and TikTok. Tumblr, I'm sorry, and Tumblr. So join us. If this is something that you believe is an American story with the Baltimore Heart, if you believe that you want to see a beautiful state-of-the-art multi-million-dollar facility like this happen, not just in this city, but begin popping up, because that's the vision, in other places around our globe, around our country, servicing these families, then there's ways for you either via social media, getting a Spirit of Africa t-shirt or a print, right? Giving time and money, sending people our way, connecting with Myra Chung or Millie Johnson, reaching out to myself, getting James to tell more about his involvement and why he sees the vision for the Men and Family Center. There are so many different ways that we can garner a groundswell of what around this. We're asking you to join us.
And if I could, Rodney, I want to throw
Yeah,
one more
man.
challenge out. Because see, sometimes we passive
Yeah, yeah.
about some stuff. So I want to challenge some people that's watching this.
Okay.
If you have ever looked at something and said, man, why people keep doing? Why if you've ever said that in your life, or you look at something and you go, man, we need to clean this up. If you've ever had those feelings, I don't care where you were in your life, if you've ever had those feelings, don't be passive on this one. Share this. Get that video. Go to these websites. Call these. Share it if you do nothing else, because you can't keep asking why it's this way if you don't help stop it from being this way. And that's been, from everything that I do, I've been a part of some of the best stuff in the world, but I also see some of the treachery, the dirt in this world. Yeah. And if you're not going to do something, pick up a piece of paper. If you're not going to do something, then when you see it, don't ask why.
Yeah.
Just look in the mirror and you see why not. So I'm going to challenge each and every one of you to share this. Get on social media, call, go to their website, like them, share with friends, go to Facebook, share this movement. Grab a t-shirt if you can grab a t-shirt. Do something so that when you see it, you go, wow, instead of why. And that's what this is all about. Watching families grow. So when you see, I love when I watch Rodney and I sit back, I've watched his videos. I've seen him speak around the country, the world. I got a text message. I think he was in Africa somewhere. And I'm sitting back and I'm going, wow. I didn't ask why he's not doing it. I remember saying, go do it. And now you get to say why. And when I watch him, this is what I really know. I know the struggle it took to get in there. But I also know how his children look at him. He went through the struggle when it wasn't right. I gotta. But now as a father, when his children look at him, when his wife turned and she give him that glowing look, put that S on his chest, and he walks out as the man he's supposed to be. That's what this men's center has the ability to do if we support it. If we decide not to support it, then we lose Rodneys. We lose Jameses. But the one Rodney has influenced around 41 states in this country, around this world. One Rodney. Can you imagine this men's center? One more Rodney come out of this men's center. One more Leon Purnell come out of this men's. Leon Purnell has been fighting this battle in Baltimore for 5 decades almost. Can I get one more? All we ask can buy a t-shirt to get one more. That's the power of support, man. I'm just so excited about it. I'm in. Let's do it.
James, everybody, with that being said, we have our marching orders. Thank you guys so much for joining us for this conversation. At the very least, like he said, just thumbs it up, give it a like, and help that algorithm go. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Rodney C. Burris. This is my friend, my mentor, my big brother, James Worthy, on behalf of the Men and Family Center here in Baltimore. Thank you for this time.
Thank you.